calling all educators with a passion for teaching and a health for faith. Get ready for a transformative journey with the Educators with Oil podcast, where host Ronnette is dedicated to helping teachers become better through biblical strategies.
Welcome back to Educators with Oil podcast. I am your hostess, Ronnette, and today we are not playing around. We have a powerhouse in the building, and I'm ready. I hope you're ready because today's guest is someone who brings wisdom and strategy and, of course, the fire. This is an educator who has been in the trenches and has done work and still shows up with passion, purpose, and anointing. Today, we are talking about Dr. Tank. When I say this man is a walking masterclass, he's talking about cultural responsiveness. We are ready. I mean that. We are ready. So let's get ready with open hearts and ready spirits. So with that introduction, we want to welcome Dr. Tank. Dr. Tank, we are so honored to have you today in the building, and I appreciate you. Let me put you on the stage. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, how you doing? Pleasure is mine. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Okay. I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't hear you very well. Okay. Sorry, like that introduction. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's kind of low.
You said I'm kind of low. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of low. I don't know if it's me because I thought I turned it up.
Yeah, I have mine full up.
So. Okay. All right. So, welcome. I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, it's an honor. I've watched some of your shows, and to be able to be on your platform today is a huge honor for me. So I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, I went to school and I'm just talking about you to our family liaison. She's excited. She's going to reach out to you.
Awesome.
I spoke with my principal, our ESL teachers, a few.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we're excited. I already have it planned out. So soon as they reach out to you, I'm ready. Because
all right, well, listen, I'm ready too. So I this is what I do every day. So I'm looking forward to coming to Trenton and do some work.
Right. I hope that when you come for our parents, that won't be the last time that you'll make a connection.
Absolutely. This should be an ongoing relationship for sure.
Right. I know we're ahead of us, but yes. That our demographics are changing in Trenton. We had, it used to be African American, totally, and then maybe we had years ago with African Americans with Puerto Ricans and things like that, and now it's people Spanish speaking countries in Central America, and now we're getting the last couple of years we have a large population of Haitian students coming in. And so this is my class. I have 5 students who speak Creole, Haitian Creole.
Wow.
In my class. I got a new one today. You think I'm playing? I got a new one today.
That's amazing. Well, listen, as I told you earlier, both my parents are from Haiti. I was born, raised in the Haitian community. I understand that community very well. And there's a number of barriers that when they come here that they have to navigate, one being language, besides the culture shock, and then just learning the different ways that schools are constructed. So there's a lot that they're going through, and the topic that we're talking about today is one of the vehicles that can help make that transition much better with culturally responsive pedagogy.
Yeah. So I really need to know exactly what that means, because it's like I said, and I say it all the time, I've been teaching multilingual learners for 20 years, my whole career.
Yes.
I started out Spanish speaking whole class Spanish speaking, and I had to work through it. I had to pull back out my Spanish that I learned in college. I had to do it all. And now it's transitioned to a language that I have no idea about. a culture that I have no idea about. I hear stories. I don't know what's true, what's not true. You know how we do, and we just say, oh, this is what it's like in that country. This is how come these situations are arising. I don't know. I just know it's tough.
For sure. So culturally responsive pedagogy is a fancy way of saying, how do we see every student in the classroom, and how would we allow their culture to influence how we teach, and better yet, how they learn? And so this methodology is just a way to really kind of help teachers better engage their students, leaders better engage their schools, to allow our students to be seen in the classroom and be part of the lessons every day. And whenever you can get someone to be seen, engagement goes up and outcomes go up. And so we know there is evidence around this research that it works and it benefits, and the outcomes are showing that students are seen in classrooms, their outcomes increase, their engagement increases, and it's just a better learning environment for the teacher as well as the student.
Man, you said about like you were in my classroom. If you can understand how tough this has been in the past since September, having students, I got a student, I'm going to say last Wednesday, who does not speak English.
Yes.
At that point, I had 3 other students who speak Creole, and I tried to get them to translate. 2 of them could not. They could not. I thought, because when I say I don't know, my ignorance is like, okay, because I had a parent teacher conference and it was in French. I translated, Google Translate French, right? Yeah. So I gave them a book in French that was speaking to him in French. He didn't understand it. Neither one of them understood it.
Yes.
I had to go back to do some research. So tough.
So what you're saying is exactly what's happening all over the country. So this is a good example of it. So for example, I know you were trying to do your due diligence as a teacher to translate it in French. However, this is where culturally responsive comes in at. They can't speak French. They speak Creole. So in essence, even though you tried to help them, you didn't. But now if you understood that, let's just say I did the training and you understood that, you would have now not even went French, you would have went Creole. And just the fact that the parents saw that you were trying like this, it would engage them automatically into the learning environment. They feel like you're trying to understand their child. And anytime a parent feels like you're doing above and beyond for their children, they also get involved. So this also helps with parent engagement as well.
Yeah, but they don't know what I'm trying. I can't communicate. I cannot. Now we have something called Class Dojo. Yes. And parents, two parents do comment back and forth. So I'm assuming it has Creole on the opposite side. You know, because it translates.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Yes.
They respond a little bit. So I'm assuming. But when I go to Google Translate, I can't find Creole. I can't find it.
Yeah, which again speaks to what this whole culturally relevant thing is. Creole is African made up language. And the way I have to teach it is the way it really happened. So when the Africans were enslaved and brought to the Caribbean, they took their native language and they mixed it with their oppressor's language, who was the French. So Creole is a French and a indigenous language merged together, which becomes almost like a slanged French, which was created by the slaves there. And so it's not recognized in a lot of places like Class Dojo or Google Translate because of its history. And so that's part of what we mean when we say even systems need to be culturally relevant, that we need to also look at things like this and make sure that they are also highlighting voices that are not in the dominant narrative, such as Haitians.
Yeah, so it could be translated to Spanish now that you say. Correct. Because I guess there's a way for me to find out. Correct. But I know Google Translate, I can't find it because I use that. I utilize that. I have a student who speaks Hindi and he doesn't understand everything. And so I'm broadcasting in the classroom. Now do you get it? He's like, okay, I got it. But he's getting bits and pieces of what I'm saying, but I can utilize that Google Translate. And if a parent happens to come in at the end of the day, we have 2 Creole speaking teachers that I can grab, but at the same time, they're with their classes. So I need a lot. I need to know how to communicate with my parents. Correct. That we can connect and that they understand that I am trying. Today I had to go back way to the basics just to get math done, because when you said they need to feel seen, I'm giving, and they need to be in the lesson participating. I'm teaching and they're sitting there until I get done, and then I can sit with them. That shouldn't be.
Yes.
But that's what it is.
Yeah. So when we talk about also being seen is things that pictures that they would be familiar with, things in their culture that they can connect with, bringing artifacts in, talking about historical figures that come from their country, different ways. And this is not only for Haitians, this is things that I do. Whenever you are sitting and trying to teach a class, I always take an assessment of where everyone's from. And so I can make sure that they see a part of themselves within the lesson or within the curriculum that we're putting in. And so these are different strategies that you can do to bring them. From what I'm hearing, the first thing you're going to need to do is find someone that speaks Creole, so you can first establish a baseline before we can start jumping in and trying to do other things.
Yeah, so that's what I talk about. That's one of my major talks is teaching multilingual learners, and that you do introduce their culture. We had a book where it was a student who came from Mexico and didn't speak the language, and then she felt ashamed because she couldn't speak, and so it helped our students understand what it was like when they first came to our school. We had a new student who came in from a different school, so she can understand and she can comprehend. So, in the book was, about a Spanish speaking little girl, so they could relate. Because I have a mix. I have African Americans. I have Haitians, 5 Haitian students, 3 or 4 African Americans. The rest are from Spanish speaking countries, different ones. Honduras.
Yes.
Yes. I forget. Guatemala, mostly Guatemala.
But so, that example is exactly what we're talking about. I don't know if there's
am I freezing? Do you see me freezing?
I think there might be a delay, but what I was saying is that example that you used is exactly what I'm talking about. You used a Hispanic girl going through some of the battles of learning a new language and not understanding. The students in your classroom now, whether they're Haitian or Hispanic, are going to connect to that girl because they understand. So in essence, you showed your class that I understand what you're going through and I empathize, and here's a story that I can show you. And these are the little things that are culturally relevant that will better bring our students into the space and make them feel comfortable. To them, we can start teaching them.
Right, because they do have to have something to relate to that's relatable, and they can. They can. I was about to name another country that I have another. I have a multicultural classroom. That's so funny, but it does, because I want to tell you, this is a story I said. I don't know if I said it before. So I grew up in a town in North Brunswick, and when I was growing up, this was the 70s, right? The 70s, North Brunswick there was two African American students.
Oh wow!
Probably 5 in the whole school, and if there was 5, it's because they were related, like me, my brother, and another family, like that. Why? And maybe there was about 6. I'm not sure. Not more than that. This is an elementary school that went up to 6th grade. Wow. So, and what they did when we had 1 black girl, 1 black boy, 2 black boys, 2 black girls, right? And they switched us. They made us in separate classes. One one over here, one over there, like that. And then I left there and I went to Plainfield in the 7th grade. All Black students. All. I mean, all. Everything was different. The books, down to the books, old books, stuff like that. It was culture shock.
Yes.
And I was one of them, but it was culture shock because I'd never been in a school like that. I'd never been in an environment like that. And so to have me relate, I told somebody the other day, the first time I heard the Black national anthem was there. Everybody was singing it, and I was like, "What? Whose national anthem is this?" I didn't understand because they didn't try to make anything in my old school culturally relevant to me. There was nothing culturally relevant. Roots came out that year, so if you could imagine that, that was something.
Deal. Yes, yeah. And so what you're talking about is critical in education. It's so important that the founding fathers of education, building blocks, if you notice, there are things that we put into the school day that has really nothing to do with education. For example, why do we do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning? What does that have to do with mathematics or science or language arts? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with cultural pride and making sure that every student sets their allegiance to this country and looks at it with high regard. And so in essence, what I'm saying is that we know there's a correlation between culture and education and the better, but right now it's really swaying to one culture. So what I'm proposing with Culture Responsible is to take this one culture dominance language and start to diversify it. So that way we are respecting all cultures in the classroom. And when you do that, light bulbs turn on. And so we know it's true and we know it works because if you look at even how we've constructed the system that we're presently in, it has a lot of culture in it. That's why I take a picture of Napoleon and I take that Napoleon picture and I put it to any school. Give me a school that's predominantly white and I ask them who that person is. They all know who he is. I take that same picture and put them in a predominantly Black school and say, who is this person? And all the students that look like me will say Napoleon. They know who he is because we teach them that history. But then if I take an African hero or a Haitian hero or a Jamaican hero and put them in these schools, no one has a clue who that is. And so that's what I mean by the current education system is designed for us to know one culture, but not every culture in the classroom.
Yeah, I could go because I could use me as an example how it was when I got to high school where I was in a mixed environment. Everybody was there. Everybody was friends. But what was taught, and then I had like the Black students, African American students, they took Black history. I didn't. Right? I didn't. My mother talked me out of it. I didn't. Now I get it, but then I was like, my mother said no. They put everybody in that class. She didn't understand, right? Because she didn't understand, and I didn't learn a lot of history that I should have learned had I taken the class. All those people were spouting off history and people that were relevant, that were great for our history. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know. All I knew was, I knew Martin Luther King Jr. That's correct. I knew that. But that wasn't even because that was like forced upon our culture. That wasn't even something that we all agreed that he's a great person. But I understand what you're talking about. So that takes more from me, even though I've been teaching multilingual learners. It's different now. It's different. I thought it's just okay. I need to learn Spanish.
Yeah. So that's like the first step, but then the more advanced step is to see how can we include some of the things that they came up with that they can identify. Because if you just think about when you go to the hair salon or the barber shop, there's a different experience when you go to a barbershop or hair salon that looks like you when you go to one that does not. There's a comfort that comes in. We are very expressive people. The way we teach, the manner. Sometimes if you go into like really African history, you'll learn that we've learned in circles. So we would go in circles, and that's how we would impart knowledge. Even things like that is cultural. If you look at the modern day classroom where we're sitting in rows in columns, that's a very European way of learning. So what I'm proposing is if you start breaking all of that down, you'll start to understand why I wrote a book called School is Not for You. I'm talking about how many ways that we have really designed school for one demographic and really ignored all the other cultures. And so what I'm proposing with these trainings that I do is to kind of really dissect the different ways that we can better engage all students. And so high expectations, history, the pictures that you have on the wall, the textbook that you use, the pictures in those textbooks. These are all different things that we should be very cognizant of when we are teaching.
Right. I do know. Okay, I got a granddaughter. When she was born, I overloaded on books with Black girls in it, with curly hair, with kinky hair, with girls who look like her in those books. I overloaded with it because, again, we didn't grow up like that. I didn't. Well, I'm telling you, when I went to Plainfield Middle School in Plainfield, I didn't fit in. Absolutely. Everybody looked like me. You would not know that I didn't fit in. I did not fit in. And that was hard for me as a child. And so to be able to see somebody that represents you. Now, we had Black teachers.
Yep.
Oh, no. When I went to the Plainfield, we had Black teachers. We didn't have them there in where I came from. So it was, I don't know, you could imagine that culture shock because that seems backwards, right? Backwards.
I'm a professor, and many of my minority students will come up to me after class and say, "You are the first Black teacher I ever had." And this is college. So there are people that have gone from K to 12 and never seen someone that looked like them throughout. And unfortunately, the time they did, that person was a non-academic position. So maybe a custodian or someone that works in the cafeteria, and there's nothing wrong with those positions. But I'm saying they've never seen someone in the classroom or in leadership that looks like them. And I think back when I was in elementary school, my principal was an African-American man. I didn't know much about education, but just seeing that aspired that maybe one day I can be there, right? And so sometimes just the presence is a lot, but I'm pushing it further because sometimes you can have the representation in teachers. However, the curriculum is still not diverse. So just putting a person that looks like them is not enough. We need to also look at the content that we're teaching, not just the person that's teaching it.
So, okay, so you're talking to like the curriculum developers or the there in the superintendent's office. So I walk into my classroom, I have a student from Liberia. I forgot, right? I have 5 Haitian students. I have Guatemalan, all these nationalities in my classroom. I do know some Spanish. I used to be a little fluent. So I walk into my classroom and I have, because last year I had students who didn't speak English. The whole class didn't speak English. So that's a little different. So I walked in my classroom. What's the first thing that I should do? Like as an educator, because I can't change the curriculum. I can add to it. I can enhance it. But what's the first thing that I could look to do?
All right. So the first thing I usually tell teachers to consider is to assess the room. Who's in the room? So you just identified a bunch of different countries. So the first thing I would probably do is do some research on those places. Now I would look at the curriculum that I cannot change and see now how can I infuse some of this culture in these lesson plans that I'm about to create for the content that they're doing. So that way these individuals that I'm about to teach can see themselves, or I can use examples that they can relate to. Just to give you an example, if I'm talking about a subject like, let's just say Christopher Columbus in history, and you're teaching and you can tell the students are like, blah, 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 blah. I just have to say a simple thing like this and everyone wakes up. They say Christopher Columbus discovered America, but that's cap. And you should see, they weren't paying. Once I said everyone,
say cap,
because I learned your language. And once I can say stuff in your language, boom, you wake up. And so what I'm trying to say is that these are the little things we can do when we do research on their linguistic styles, research on bring in certain foods, that anything that can get them to say, hey, she sees me. I'm a person in class, and she's trying to extend something to get me to learn the content. And that's what I'm basically talking about, is that you assess the cultures in your room, and then you start trying to do things to influence the learning environment where you can show them that I see you, I understand your language, I understand your culture, but this is what we're trying to do here in this classroom. So that way it doesn't feel like it's a one-size-fits-all approach, and that they need to assimilate to the teaching style versus us trying to reach them.
Yeah, it is that language thing. They come in with some language though. I'm talking about just in general, these students from around here, they come in saying things, you're like, could you stop? Could you stop? I remember they were doing the dance every time you line up. I guess it's called the floss. There was 2 dances, the floss and something else where they were kicking and the floss doing that kind of crazy. I don't know which one is which, but it was annoying. But I bet you if I would try to learn it with them, I could have related to them. I was like, could you stop?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you tomorrow, when you go into the classroom tomorrow, you're going to say good morning. And I want you to say "ça passe," and tell me what happens after you say that tomorrow.
I have to go back and play that again.
And what's going to happen? Those 5 Haitian students are going to perk up on their seats. They're going to start laughing, and "ça passe" is like saying "what's up" in Creole, but it's really a call and response. So when you say "ça passe," they're supposed to respond to you. So if you just did that, and now that's not just for the 5. So that lesson would be for the 5 Haitian kids. But what would happen, I would have the Hispanic students do that too. So when I say whatever they say, the whole class is going to say it. And then that's tomorrow, let me find something that brings in the Hispanic students, and I have the Haitians. Before you know, we will create a United Nations in that classroom. Everyone's going to be participating. Everybody's going to be excited. Everyone's going to want to show off their little part of their. And that's what the beauty of having all these different cultures in the classroom at the same time while teaching the content.
Right, because I forgot what it was. I wrote it on my board for the Hindi student. Yeah. And his greeting was, I forgot because I didn't continue it. But I wrote it on the board so I would know what to say. And if I do, and then not only that, we all learn how to say what's up in everyone else's language. That's a good idea.
I think it's a great icebreaker to start the day. And it just, as educators, we're always trying to find a little thing to just get us one step ahead, right? And so I think these are the little things that we can do to get everyone excited about the day and be seen at the same time. The other thing that I do like to talk about when we talk about culturally responsive is this idea of high expectations. Sometimes I feel that when we teach in low income, inner city schools, we tend to come in, not all the time, but a lot of times we come in with all these kids, they have so much they're going through, they can't learn, and we lower our expectations. However, I'm going to say we should continue to walk in there with high expectations. And if they don't make it, they will still go higher than they were going to go before, right? And so what the challenge I always tell my teachers when I do professional development is, if I took you and transferred you to the best school in the district, what would have changed in your preparation from the way you prepare for the best school in the district and the way you prepare for your students now? And if you're going to say, oh, I would have prepared differently, why are you not doing it now?
Yeah, that absolutely. That's part of is similar. The multilingual learner, same thing, right? And that is what we said. We can't lower the expectation. We just change we differentiate. I might need pictures for you, but the objective is exactly the same.
Correct.
How do plants grow? How does sun cause plants to grow? No matter
Correct.
what, if you draw a picture, if I give you a sentence stem, or if you can explain it, you still have to tell me how the sun causes plants to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I ask you a question. If I asked you during your whole academic journey, who was your best teacher? Would you remember? Who would you give that credit to?
I didn't have a good relationship with teachers in school. People ask me, and I'm a teacher, it seems so funny. People ask me questions about my teachers and who do I remember or what teacher calls me. None of them. I didn't. When early on, I moved a lot. And then when I got to North Brunswick, I didn't fit in. The teachers didn't grab hold of me. I used to I used to run really fast, right? I used to run with the boys running. And nobody grabbed me and said, girl, nobody. I just was like, maybe that was me projecting. And so they couldn't, I don't know. And then when I went to, the dark town, I just was like everybody else. And they were just trying to make it. Our books were old, everything. They trying to make it. Then finally, when I went to the school where all of us were together at the time and now, I was done probably. I was done. So I don't have a teacher that I go back
You're
and
still
say
making the point. You're still making the point I was going to make anyway. So the point I was going to make is if you did have a best teacher, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be about the teacher that implemented the curriculum the best. You're going to tell me a teacher that connected with you, that made you seem like you just weren't just another student, that they saw you beyond the four walls. And the reason why you're telling me now that you don't have a favorite teacher, because no teacher probably did that, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you, what we're pushing with this is that students want to be seen and felt and not feel like just another number in the classroom. And so the best ways we can connect with them is to do strategies that we're talking about right here. If I can show you that I see you, one of the things that challenges I put to teachers is take one Saturday, just one, and go to the basketball game. Take one Saturday and go to, I don't know, band practice, and let them see you outside of the traditional role as the teacher. That alone. Or maybe take a Saturday and go to ShopRite in the community that you teach at, because most teachers don't live in the community that they serve. So imagine you go one Saturday and shop not in your community, but the community that you teach at, and let them run into you, or you run into the parents at a ShopRite, and see the impact just that one encounter will do. And that's the stuff that we're trying to teach. Because that parent, when you email that parent next week and say, I need to talk to you in parent, they're going to show up because they feel like you're invested. And so these are the things Culturally Responsive can do for our classrooms.
Absolutely. I like that because parents want to see that you're a person that you're relatable. And if we both go to Walmart and we meet in Walmart, I used to see when I used to go to Walmart, my kids in preschool, they used to see me in Walmart because I worked right next door to my town. And they used to see me. They were little because they were preschool, and they used to be in shock. They saw me in Walmart. Yeah. So it was an experience. I even got invited to a few birthday parties. So
and that's what we're trying to get back to, the community teacher. Right. And so, yes. And believe it or not, a lot of these kids that we're talking about are coming from outside the country. Their teacher was a part of the community. That's what they're used to. So they're not used to the structure where teachers come in 8 to 3 and beeline out of the community at 3 o'clock and you don't see them ever again. They're used to seeing their teachers as part of the community. So that would actually make them feel more at home. Right. And so these are some of the things that we're talking about, like how can we better connect with our students? These are some of the strategies we can do.
Yeah, I think that's good. So I do things with my students that they see that I'm regular. Because I play, I laugh. I don't make a big deal. Like if we make mistakes, I make mistakes. I always get a student who corrects me, and I'm not. They always find my mistakes like that, and then I dance with the students. I do things. So we play games.
Correct.
And I can understand. Like I haven't, because I had to follow the schedule. Now I always had brain breaks where I have games and toys and magnetic science things that they take their brain break with. I haven't been able to find a way to fit it in again. I since I decided I have to follow the schedule, and it doesn't fit. I always take 10 minutes. I don't care, but I really don't have the room. I just have to make the room, but they can relate because I will actually play with them, you know.
Correct.
So I like that idea of connecting on a personal level. And then I like the idea when you said find something about their country or where they're from or something. Because, you know, we connect, we talk about what kind of foods do you eat on Thanksgiving. Does your family celebrate Thanksgiving? Because I don't know. We just do that here. You know, why? You know, why? And so that helps my students because they do celebrate Thanksgiving. And I didn't know everybody will come here celebrating Thanksgiving. Like,
correct.
You know,
but they, you know, sometimes it's because they want to feel a part of the new culture of where they're at, right? So if everyone around them is doing that, they want to be a part of it. So same way we're talking about sharing, we should also be teaching, you know, where they're at now, right? So that way they can make the bridge. And so the classroom's a perfect place where that can happen.
Yeah. So I have several, you know, in a regular gen ed class, I said regular, this doesn't make sense because every class now is multicultural. Like I can't find one that's not. I mean, unless it's just the straight up Hispanic the Spanish speaking students, but there are like 5 countries in those classes. So I can't even say it. But I have different levels. So like students on pre-K, kindergarten, first grade level, second grade level, all in one class, and I only have 15 kids.
Correct.
That's like, you could just think about that. And so not only do I have to connect, I have to differentiate, and then I have to try to make everybody learn the same thing. And so I had to make my groups to teach, make my small groups according to their level, according to their language. You know how many, I try to make it 4 groups, but then there's still a group of students that they have to fit in where they get, you know, have to get in where they fit in. And so that's another thing. What do you say about that? Because have you ever taught elementary school?
Yes. So what I would say there is that I'm a proponent of mixing the groups, because sometimes I feel like when we segregate the groups, we dismiss cooperative learning. So I need, sometimes the high performing kid can probably learn better teaching the kid that's probably not at standard versus me doing it. And so putting them in groups, sometimes they teach each other better than we can. And so I think sometimes when we do that, it's called tracking, where you then become perpetuating the gaps by separating the kids. And so that would be my take on that. So mixing the groups would be also beneficial to the students.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because I do that for some things, but then you know how, like in math, it would be a different group than it would be for literacy. And so you mix them, and then you have the whole group. I do it, but then I'm not gonna use the word you. Then I get stuck in that and say, okay, group 2, you know, group 2. It's easier for me. That is easier for me. And then I'm watching them grow in steps. But if I had that high level student who's already reading at 3rd grade level, helping in the that will cause that CVC word student to read a little bit better because they want to perform.
Because you don't want that high performing student to then get bored, right?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not. So it's almost a way of teaching leadership at the same time as helping the other students. So yeah, these are just different ways obviously you're always trying to think how to keep everyone engaged and not lose some of the kids in this. And I think the mixed ability groups are an answer to that.
Right. And then plus, if you're teaching the skill, it doesn't really matter. Like
Correct.
you're teaching the skill,
Correct.
like you're teaching digraphs, you're teaching grammar, you're teaching something. It's a little bit different because you definitely can mix the groups. So I have parents, right? I have parents who, well, I just got a message from somebody and she said, I need to put Haitian Creole. Maybe that's for Google Translate. So if anybody's listening, you have Haitian Creole speaking students, that I should put that. I thought I put all that because that's what I thought it was called, Haitian Creole, right?
Well, there's different kind of Creole. So thankful for whoever put that comment in there. There's a number of different kind of Creole. So they're telling you to be more specific with the Haitian Creole to make sure you're getting the right one. Because
I put French Creole.
Off the top of my head, I believe people from Guadeloupe speak a form of Creole as well. There's other ones too. Off the top of my head, I just went with that one. But some words are different, and you don't want to lose the student there as well.
Oh, so I think I put French Creole because I thought it was French. So I think I put French Creole, and I've been saying French Creole. She said Haitian Creole, so I won't.
Haitian Creole gets you better results for sure.
Oh, okay. So back to that. I have parents now. I know you say, but I need to reach my parents tomorrow. Like, for real. I have Class Dojo. I cannot. Well, maybe now I put up Haitian Creole. Maybe I can get a translation. But I need my parents to answer me. I need them to answer me for real. Like, we need to sit down and have a conversation. I don't want it to be, I have to get the counselor to call you up to bring you in. We have to have a whole meeting. I shouldn't have to do all that just to get, and then I have to call a translator,
Yeah, so I would recommend to do something non-academic, right? And so I don't want our relationship, where our teachers' relationship with our parents, to be only about when your kid does something bad, right? And so that tends to be what it is. The only time they get a call is their kids acting up. So now when you call or email me, I'm not responding because I don't want to hear it. I'm busy. I got 2 jobs. And so what I'm going to tell you to do is find non-academic ways to engage the parents. So I'm going to put myself in your situation right now. I know I have 6 different countries. I'm going to say, let's have a parent day where each person brings a dish from their native land. And I just celebrate the different traditions of food that you have. Now they're going to try to show off. Let me show you what we make here. And now when I get them there, since you're all here, let me also tell you some things that's happening in school that I would love to tell you about your kids, and start with positive reinforcement. So it balances the negative stuff. So now I'm going to be more apt to listen or to communicate with you when I feel like you're also giving me positive things about my kid, not only negative. So these are just ways to get them involved. So I'm glad that you have a parent liaison. That position is very important. Not all schools have that. But these are other ways to get people involved. And so if you do bring me in, those are the kind of conversations I'm going to have with your parent liaison, to not just make this always about school. We need to build relationships, and then the school reinforcement will happen much easier.
Yeah, this is crazy because we're going to have next Friday, we're going to celebrate the holidays, leaving for 2 weeks, right? And I put pizza. Like, who wants to volunteer for stuff, right? Pizza. Right. I put the old standard things. I shouldn't have done. I couldn't change it. Probably I will. To, if you have a dish that you would like to share with us, right? That will work. Eat too, because I did add that, but I didn't add it. I didn't emphasize it, but I didn't think.
Or you can say, or a recipe, or something like that. So something that makes them say, oh, she really wants a piece of my culture in her class. So these are the ways, especially you gotta understand, if I'm coming from outside the country, I don't speak the language, I'm intimidated by school. Yeah. And so we're trying to find a common ground. Food is usually a good common ground, right? Find a common ground that's not intimidating, that is inviting, that's welcoming, and build the relationship there. Build it wherever you can. and then the academics will follow. And so when I feel comfortable with the teacher, I feel comfortable coming in, I'm going to be more of an active partner in the education space.
Okay, yeah, cause I have a parent. She probably tired of me because her son acts so bad, and I'm
Yeah.
just like trying to communicate. But I need you. I need to talk to you. We need to make this work. So I have to find everything on my own. Now he's coming home with stickers and stars because
Yes.
I'm finally reaching him. But it took me since September until December, like a couple times in November, but it took a long time when we could have got there together faster.
Correct.
Faster. But
Correct.
now it's like, okay, what do I do? I need to help him. So yeah.
And just another thing. I lastly, when we talk about parents, I would just want to challenge your listeners or parents that's on the call or teachers on the call. If you are in a community, if you're serving a community that don't have the resources, so maybe the parents are now working 2-3 jobs, is PTA on a Wednesday night the best time to be asking these parents to come in? Like, we also just assume everyone works a 9 to 5 and they're available at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So I'm also telling schools, if you really want to partner with the community, maybe that's something you survey in the beginning of the school. What day and time would be best for us to have parent conference? And believe it or not, I know it's going to be, oh man, I don't know how we're going to do that. But sometimes they say Saturday mornings. And so I'm like, can we do a Saturday morning on Zoom? You don't have to physically go to the school or work something out with the leadership. I don't know. But can we do a Saturday morning? And that way we can increase the parent engagement, because sometimes we make this notion that they're not involved and they don't care. And sometimes because they work 2 to 3 jobs. They just don't have the time. So this is part of us working together and building a relationship with the parents.
That's true. One day we had I went past this happened. I didn't know because I don't keep up with what's happening. But we had a bunch of parents, a library full of parents during the school day. I didn't know it was a parent meeting. I didn't know what it was for, but it was exactly that. So people are getting on board with that because you do know some parents work in the evening. We have students say, I had a student who said, my mom's always sleeping. She sleeps all the time. No, I talked to the mom. The mom said, I work at night, right? I have to sleep before I go to work. So they didn't understand why their mom was always sleeping. So that is something we have to understand and connect with.
That shows that you understood. You must have had some kind of relationship with the parent to get that information, so that way you could correct the kids. So this is why I'm saying, know your students, know your parents.
Yeah. So it's crazy because it feels like I'm starting all over again. That was about 20 years ago when I had just the Mexican students, and they loved me because I was right there. Like, and I had days where I told them to only speak to me in Spanish, like Tuesday and Thursday, only speak to me in Spanish. So we were making that connection. So it was that. But so any thing else that you want to emphasize that we, for educators, remember, educators, we have all these cultures in our classroom. That's the best way to say it, because it is all these cultures in our classroom, and something that 2 things, 3 things, I don't know, whichever you think that we need to leave here with when we go back to school tomorrow.
So what I'll say is that know your community that you serve. And this is not only for teachers, this is for officers, this is for firefighters, anyone who is servicing the community. You should actually understand the community you serve. The better you understand the community, the better you become a teacher or officer or firefighter or a social worker. So too often we have too many people in spaces that don't live in the community that they serve, so they don't really know it, and it's just a job. And I think that's what Culture Responsive can help us with. And so I'm going to give you an example, and that'll be the last example I leave with your listeners. I sit on the board as the academic chair in Camden County, New Jersey. So once twice a year, I like to go in and sit and observe a classroom. I went to a classroom in Camden, New Jersey. It was a white woman who was the teacher. As a matter of fact, 88% of teachers in inner city communities are white women. And so one of the questions I always wonder is, were they educated in inner city communities? And if they're not, how do they come over and transfer those skills over? But that's another conversation one day, right? So let's just stick to, I went in, I sat in the back of the classroom, and the white woman said to the class full of Hispanic and Black children, and she said, "Who in your community keeps you safe?" And the kids raised their hand, and they started naming a bunch of people who kept them safe. Two positions kept coming up. I just want to question you right quick. Tell me the two people they think in their community that keeps them safe. Just take a guess.
Because I'm thinking the opposite now. I'm not thinking.
Just tell me.
You know, they think they're going to say policemen,
okay.
right?
Okay.
And they might say firemen. That's what I think they would say.
All right. But they did not say that.
Really?
They said teachers, and they said firefighters.
Really?
Not one kid said police officer. And the reason why the reason why I want to end with this story is this. In communities that are affluent or maybe middle class, we know that that's the police officer's job to keep us safe. However, in communities that are deprived of resources, that are underprivileged, under-resourced, they don't see police in that role. What they typically see police doing is locking up their uncles, their dads, pulling them over, a bunch of bad, destructive things to the family. So now, instead of seeing the police officer as keeping them safe, they see them as part of the problem in the community. That's not, it shouldn't be so, but I'm saying some of the things that they see. So this is what culture responsive comes in. The teacher then scolds the students and say, "How are you saying teachers' job is to teach, not to keep you safe, and firefighters' job is to blow out fires? It's police officers. How did you not get that?" So the class leaves, and I told the teacher, "Why do you think they said firefighters instead of police officers?" She said, "I don't know. Wasn't that weird?" I said, "No, it's not weird, because I come from Elizabeth, New Jersey. I kind of know the community that they live in. And let me tell you the difference between a firefighter and a police officer in those communities. The firefighter lets us go into the fire station. They let us get on the truck. They let us play with the sound. We always see them rescuing people.
Mm-hmm.
We never see them terrorizing anybody in our community. They're always a partner with us. So a kid's mind, they keep us safe. But when we see officers, not all, but sometimes we see them in other lights. And so this was your chance, if you were culturally responsive, to understand why they said what they did. And it was a teachable moment to teach them the true position of an officer, but you missed it because you weren't culturally responsive. That's why this is so important. Because if I understand the community I serve, I can start catching teachable moments all day in the classroom. But when I'm not culturally responsive, they go right over my head. And I wanted to end with that story.
Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. So I'm not even going to add to that, because that's what I do. I like to add and stuff. But that is so perfect, because see where here I go, right? It is. We need to be able to relate to our students and have an understanding of their community.
Correct.
For real. Because I was talking to somebody about homeschooling, right?
Yes.
Not homeschooling. And what do you call it? Home instruction.
Yes.
And it became kind of a joke, but it wasn't a joke to me. Like, no, I have to meet them at the library if I meet them. I'm not going in people's homes, right? I did home instruction. I went into people's homes in a different community, right? It was just different. But that was my mindset you know, that's your mindset. Like, this is what I think of this community, and that's not right. Not saying I don't need to be safe, but I need to feel safe. But it just was, I went straight there. I'm like the teacher. The police officer is the one that keeps you safe. No. Yeah. So I get it, and I love it, and I thank you. So where could we find you? And somebody wants you, a district wants you. I put your website up there. Is that
Yes, that's exactly where you can find me. www.tankeducates.com. You can also email me at info at tankeducates.com with 2 D's. I serve school districts, universities, law enforcement, organizations, anyone that needs help, I'm there. So my thing is, we do a lot of professional development training. We do a lot of HR work for organizations. We do a lot of school assemblies, and we do a lot of tutoring and consulting. So any of those needs, you just reach out to us under book online and get a free consultation call with us. We'll figure out what your needs are, and then we'll build and customize a program for your needs.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I hope we get you for professional development as well as for our parents to bridge that gap, help us come together and help raise up these citizens, because they are, you know, the future. When we say that, we act like we just say it, but they are, like, they're going to be adults soon. And so I appreciate you. I really do. I thank you for accepting my invitation. And so I look forward to our continued success with Trenton. So
absolutely,
I'm already talking to people. I'm going to send you to my superintendent next.
So all right, looking forward to it. Well, thank you for the invitation. Enjoyed the discussion, and I hope to work with you soon.
Okay. Don't hang up, right? Don't hang up. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank you for joining Educators with Oil podcast. Today's episode, I hope that it encouraged you, help equip you for tomorrow. You know, remember that you are anointed and called into your position, and that you never teach alone. Again, thank you. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Share with another educator who does need this. And thank you, and have a blessed day.
Subscribe to Educators with Oil podcast on your preferred platform and join Ronnette on this mission to empower teachers through the wisdom of the Bible. Because when biblical strategies meet the classroom, extraordinary teaching happens.
Educators, let's shine a light on our classrooms. See you on Educators with Oil podcast, where teaching and faith unite.